in the community that, a lot of times came from the psychological effects of slavery and different things like that. We're not as protected as we should be. We are not seen as intelligent. We're all oftentimes sexualized, or objectified to the point to where, people see a black woman and they automatically see her as um, angry, or or different things like that, which I feel like righteously we should be angry, because we're black and we're women. We deal with two things, you know, uh, two sides of the coin per se. And a lot of people don't acknowledge that, or they don't want to acknowledge that. I feel like when we're talking about rebuilding the black community, I don't think that that can be done on an individualistic level. And when I say that, I feel like individualism within the community is a problem. So whenever you start talking about rebuilding the black community, I think you have to look at it from a communal point of view or a communal perspective, whereas it's not about what the black woman or the black man can do to rebuild the community. It's that word community. What can the community do to build the black family? When you start, I think someone that I follow on Facebook, I really, there are so many people that I love, so many people that I respect. But Diallo Kenyatta, I know y'all probably all heard of him. He's very, very big on Facebook, but he always talks about the nuclear family. And I appreciate that because I agree 100%. I think that we look at things too many times from a European standpoint, instead of an African standpoint. And the African way has never been to separate the male from the female, or the male and the female and the child. It's always been to look at things from a communal level. This is it's a balance there. And I think that when we're talking about what can a black woman do to rebuild the community, you can't look at it from that type of perspective, because we're dealing with we're dealing with the beast of a system. You know what I mean? And it seeks to, I feel like, conquer black bodies, period. So it doesn't look at a black male or a black woman or a black child. It sees us all as a problem. And so to me, I always say, it's going to take all of us to get out of the situation that we're in, not just the black woman or the black man. It takes a coming together, you know what I'm saying, of all of us to overcome, to fight against the struggle that we're in. You know what I mean?
Very, very, very good definition and explanation of that. And also, sis, with me being a therapist and a counselor by trade, that's what I do with my job. So, of course, a lot of people come to me
Hmm.
with a lot of issues
I see a lot of your
on
things.
on,
Yeah.
on the record and
Hmm.
off the record. A lot of brothers and sometimes sisters come to me. So my question for you is, do you think it's legitimate when black men say, well, the reason why I have or seek a white woman or a Latino woman or an Asian woman is because a lot of black women are so difficult to deal with. They're confrontational, they're combative, they're almost impossible to deal with. Do you think there's any validity to that? Do you think that's a legitimate excuse for why a lot of brothers are dipping outside of the race?
I don't think there's any legitimacy to that. I think it's a coward's way out to me, if we're gonna be honest. Um, if you want, if we're gonna be completely
Mm.
honest, you know what I mean? Because when you're talking about white women, Asian women, Latino women, a lot of times you're looking at these people as the ideal standard. Whereas when you're dealing with people on an individual level, you know what I mean? You have to understand that these people are coming from cultures that have been built upon anti-blackness. You know what I mean? Uh, plenty of slave masters had sex with their slaves. You know what I mean? Plenty of white slave mistresses had sex with their slaves. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that that person understands you culturally. That doesn't mean that that person appreciates you for who you are. That doesn't mean that that person sees you for who you're supposed to be. A lot of times, these people are fetishizing you. You know what I mean? They see you. They've heard, black men. They got, you know, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And all of these different things, black men, you know what I'm saying? They're the king of men, sexual in bed, and all of these different things. And so they're looking at you, and the same thing with black women. The same thing can be said in regards to interracial relationships with black women. I know for myself, when I was younger, because I'm always completely transparent. When I was younger, I dated a white man for about 6 months. And I can tell you 100% that his main thing was he was fetishizing me. He saw my afro and he saw the black skin and all of those different things, and to him it was exotic. You know what I mean? It was something that he never experienced before, different things like that. And a lot of times with people in other races, that's exactly how they feel. You know what I'm saying? You're exotic. You're the other. You know what I mean? You're not we can't be humanized. You know what I'm saying? In the same way that we would be if we were dating someone of our own race. You know what I mean? Also, to not even to go back to it, to go back to just black men in regards to, there's a standard of beauty that has been built, European standard, into black men's head, that you have to be light skinned, or you have to have long hair, or you have to look a certain way to be attractive. And that's not to say that uh, all black men think this way, but it's a psychological game. You see what I'm saying? Where Europeans have made themselves to be the standard of beauty. You get what I'm saying? They say, um, in order for you to be beautiful, you have to look this way. In order for you to be successful, you have to have this woman. In order for you to move up within this system, you have to date this person. You get what I'm saying? So to a lot of black men, they see light skin or white skin as a way to progress. You get what I'm saying? Because that's the way this system has been built. And that's not to say, not to take away from the fact, like I said, it is cowardice because you're taking the easy way out. But that's also to go back to the fact, when you're talking about women, black women are combative and black women are angry. Who said that's a bad thing? You see what I'm saying? Because shouldn't we be angry? Shouldn't we be combative? Why would you want to be with someone who's totally submissive to the point to where they don't even question the status quo? You see what I'm saying? They go along in life because to them it's beneficial for them to be at the top. You see what I'm saying? Whereas when you're talking about combativeness, that combativeness comes is a positive when one of our black brothers are shot down in the street. You want that anger and you want that combativeness, but you just don't want it when it's dealing with yourself on an individual level. But when it comes to the system, you want black women. And that combativeness comes to the fact, again, we're dealing with two totally different systems of oppression. Not only patriarchy, but we're dealing with racism. How I feel. Like I said, we know that they're not, but we're talking about the ones who say, I'm going to date outside of my race because black women are too angry. You get what I'm saying?
Hmm. Yeah, that was a very deep, deep explanation, and I hope um, it gives a different perspective. I mean, people going to do what they going to do, but it's like a topic has been raging on, for a while. And once again, I just wanted a sister's, perspective, on that, because I hear it all the time, that's the reason why, that's the justification why they just always arguing or deal with. Where white women, they don't. Oh, looks like we lost our sister there. Um, well, again, this is the Hour of Power with Brother Sharif. Subscribe and share the channel so we can continue to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. We're interviewing Sister Jamila out of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm gonna wait for her to come back on. It's a bad storm there in Georgia where she's at, so she's having a little reception problem. So hopefully Sister Jamila will come back on, but she's been dropping some jewels about giving a sister's perspective on many different issues that go on in the black community. I had asked her about does she think it's any validity to black men giving the excuse of why they date Asian women, white women, Latino women, anything other than black. Does she think it's valid that the reason why they do that is because black women are almost impossible to deal with at times. They're combative, supposedly combative, argumentative. They don't support you. They want to be independent. All the stereotypes that we hear. Is it valid? Is it a valid excuse for them to do that? And the sister was giving her perspective. She was giving her perspective on that. I'm trying to get the sister back on here. Okay. Just hold on 1 second, family. We're going to try to get Sister Jamila back on. All right, Sister Jamila, try to add yourself back on, just like you did the last time, because I don't see how to add you on here. See if you can add yourself on, and I will bring you back on. It's letting me, it's trying to get me to block you, but I don't want to do that. I want to add you. So whatever you did the first time, sis, let's see if that'll work. Yeah. So our sister should be back on in a couple of here. There we go.
Sorry.
All right. How you doing, Queen?
I'm good.
Uh,
Like I said, we're having some heavy rains down here, so
it's okay.
yeah.
It's okay. So I was just filling the listening audience in on your perspective on the reason why some black men want to date outside the race, and black women, because it's both,
Mhm.
it's both ways. It seems like the brothers catch more heat when they do it than the sisters do it. I
Mhm.
don't see no reason for it, either way, but to each his own. What was your perspective on the quote unquote royal wedding?
Uh, I didn't even watch it. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I find no joy in colonizers event. You know what I mean? I the British monarchy has a history, a very long history, a very long historical history of oppression against African people. So I could I could care less. You know what I mean?
That's simple,
It's
right?
not something. Yeah, it's that simple. It's not something that I was overjoyed about. It's not something that I took a lot of time looking into. Like, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right. Um, um, Going on with some current events. Do you think it's something